If you like my videos, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up to date with all the latest news regarding my channel and my content. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe below or at the end of the video. Don't forget to check out my Amazon store, filled with recommendations on Blu-rays, DVDs, books, and other media featured in my videos. G'day guys, Dave Lee coming at you once again from Down Under with another movie review. In this video I'll be taking a look at the latest release from Warner Brothers Pictures and producer Jerry Bruckheimer. Starring Chris Hemsworth, Michael Shannon and Michael Pena. It is 12 Strong. 12 Strong is based on the true story of the ODA 595 Horse Soldiers, a team of US Special Forces who were sent into Afghanistan immediately following the September 11 attacks on New York's World Trade Center. In the very first covert operation in the United States war in Afghanistan, the team assists the Afghan Northern Alliance in a series of aerial bombings of Taliban and Al-Qaeda terrorist cells, leading to one of their greatest victories in the entire war effort. The movie heavily focuses on Chris Hemsworth's character Mitch Nelson, as well as Hal Spencer played by Michael Shannon. Nelson is a US soldier with no combat experience who is picked to captain the ODA, and the movie follows his journey from soldier to warrior and hero, while Spencer, a chief warrant officer who was only days away from retirement, rejoins the war effort as a volunteer. I was really looking forward to checking out 12 Strong, mainly because I'm a huge lover of war films, but also because I was kind of intrigued by the story. This covert military operation, which I had quite literally not heard anything about, probably because this was an operation that actually remained classified for many years following the events. While the story of this movie is quite interesting, my thoughts on the movie itself are kind of a little bit mixed. For me personally, the movie felt like a really slow mover for the most part. Of course, it is picked up by its exciting action and battle sequences, but they kind of feel like they're few and far between, with everything in between just feeling like an absolute slow burn. This is one of those stories that really doesn't have enough legs to sustain an entire 2-hour feature. It's kind of like how Saving Private Ryan used the storming of Normandy as one single 20-minute action sequence within a much larger picture. You probably couldn't have made an entire movie about the storming of Normandy. Likewise, the story of the Horse Soldiers feels like it could have just been a 20-minute sequence within a much larger movie about the Afghan war. Due to this, there's a lot of unnecessary filler material here, which drags out what should have been a 20-minute sequence into a 130-minute movie. While this certainly isn't too long for a movie of its kind, I felt that for this particular one, it just kind of harmed the overall impact of it. This, of course, is not to discredit the actual soldiers who took part in these battles. Theirs is a great story and an important one to tell, but despite being called 12 Strong, this isn't a movie that really puts 100% of the focus on the team 100% of the time. For the most part, this movie struggles trying to decide exactly what it is. Sometimes it does feel like a movie about the team, and especially about Chris Hemsworth's character, but at other times it just kind of feels like a play-by-play of the events that happened. This happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, with not much substance kind of tying everything together. This leads to a movie that loses its momentum very, very quickly. Some of the battle sequences here, although are really great, kind of felt like they finished before they'd even began, robbing the movie of any tension that it could have had. 12 Strong certainly makes an attempt to be tense and thrilling, but I can't say I felt like I was on the edge of my seat for much of the time, except perhaps for fleeting moments in the final sequence. The stakes here just don't feel as real as they should. There was no strong character moments or developments. We're just simply expected to feel for the guy who was supposed to retire from the army and cheer on the hero with no battle experience. To me, this just completely weakened the build-up towards the movie's otherwise excellent finale and robbed it of any kind of stakes and emotion. Chris Hemsworth does a really decent job with the material that he's given. He's a really fantastic performer, but I felt like he just wasn't given much to work with on this movie. I really wish that his character as a human, as a person, had been fleshed out a little bit more, instead of just kind of portraying him as a glorified hero. Of course, the real-life Nelson is a true hero and he should be decorated as such, but there's a difference between portraying him as this guy who has no experience and doesn't know what he's doing and is definitely going to be a hero, and we all know he's going to be a hero, and everything just falls into place so easily for him, and portraying him as this kind of fish out of water who shouldn't be there, has no experience, and literally has to fight and thrive to succeed against all odds to become that hero. Unfortunately, the movie decides to portray him as the former rather than the latter, which means the stakes just don't feel real for this guy. Everything in this movie just happens for him so conveniently and so easily. Like I said, Chris Hemsworth is perfectly fine in this movie. In fact, he's probably the best part about this movie. He's just not given a lot of great material to work with. I would really welcome seeing him in more roles like this in the future. Shannon is likewise really great in the movie, but other than some pretty decent character background stuff at the beginning, it's almost like he gets pushed into the background of the movie. Whatever character setup he gets early on almost feels superfluous by the end, as none of it really gets any kind of resolution or closure. Pena, as always, is a lot of fun in this, but even more so feels incredibly underutilized. You could probably count his prominent appearances in the movie on one hand. Look, I'm aware that I'm kind of making this sound like a bad movie. It really isn't. There is a lot of great things about this movie that I really enjoyed, and a lot of that actually has to do with the movie's excellent action sequences. The longest battle sequence we get is most definitely the movie's finale, and I must say that this is absolutely incredible and managed to sustain my attention for the movie's final 20 or 30 minutes. There are some really great and innovative uses of drones and action cameras in this sequence. There are some really brilliant and memorable aerial shots here, one of which looks over the horse soldiers in action while barricades of torpedoes fly over the tops of them. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. There is some really cool cinematography at play here, and it makes me really excited for the future of war cinema, and it's kind of almost worth seeing this movie just for this experience. These battle sequences are pretty brutal and confronting, and there's quite a little bit of tension in the final one especially, but it's kind of almost like a curious tension and not so much a thrilling tension. I was curious about what was going to happen next, but I wasn't really on the edge about it. Another thing I really loved about this movie was the juxtaposition between the American forces, who are kind of using quite primitive technology, riding on horseback, fighting against the terrorists who are using quite modern artillery. My favorite line in the whole movie was, "We're fighting with horsemen against tanks." This just seemed like such a cool concept, and even though this happened in real life, it's a really amazing melding of two genres, one half war and the other half Western. It really is, in its own way, kind of like those old John Wayne war and Western movies that we just rarely seem to get these days. And you know what? I want more of them. Right now, but maybe ones that are just a little bit more entertaining and gripping on the whole. I was certainly far from loving this movie, but I didn't really dislike it either. I just kind of wish I felt stronger about it. With that, I award 12 Strong with 3 horses out of 5. 12 Strong is a passable war flick but lacks much excitement. Bogged down by a lack of clear direction and tension where everything just seems to happen so conveniently. Luckily, it's a movie which is saved by its great style and fantastic action sequences. In the end, 12 Strong is a little less Private Ryan and a little more Jarhead. Thank you once again to my wonderful friends over at Village Roadshow for providing me with in-season passes to 12 Strong for the purposes of this review. If this is your first time watching one of my videos and you've enjoyed this review and you'd like to see more like it in the future, then please, at the end of the video, give me some support and hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen. To all my regular viewers out there, thank you once again for joining me, and to absolutely everybody out there, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It does a great deal in getting my videos out there. I hope I'll see you all again soon, guys. Until then, take care, and I hope you have a wonderful day.